Putin lays waste city after city under attack as his forces close in. From Kharkiv in the north to Borodyanka on the outskirts of Kiev and to the southern port of Mariupol. Bombardment for hours where there are reportedly hundreds dead, and from where John Irvine and his team came face to face with the Russians in one of the last civilian convoys out.
At one point, the tank turret turned our way. We were staring down the barrel.
And finally, the world of Formula One bid farewell to one of their own today. Sporting legend Sir Frank Williams has died at the age of 79.
He was the driving force and the famous name behind so many of Britain's greatest moments in motorsport. That will to win helped Frank Williams survive and thrive after a car crash left him paralysed.
This is something that many people didn't think could possibly happen.
It was the start of a golden Grand Prix age. His drivers won 7 championships. His cars took 9 constructors' titles.
He took the lead, he stayed there.
Not bad for a team. He started in an old carpet factory and once ran from a telephone box.
Well, the name of Sir Frank will never be forgotten in motorsport. Britain is the capital of Formula One motor racing, and Frank Williams was part of that in forming it.
The high risks of this high-speed world were tragically borne out in the death of Ayrton Senna, for which he was accused and acquitted of manslaughter. Nor, evident from his lap of Silverstone with Lewis Hamilton at the wheel, did the thrill of racing ever diminish.
They're all going.
Hamilton described him tonight as a fighter and a racer at heart. Sir Frank sold the Williams company last year, but his name and his legacy will live on.
Tributes to Formula One's Sir Frank Williams, whose death was announced today.
We won't know until next month whether the UK economy has returned to growth from a brief recession, but today we had another sobering assessment of how it's doing. The International Monetary Fund said the economy is expected to grow by just 0.5% this year. That's a downgrade from the not much better 0.6% it predicted in January. Of the G7 advanced economies, only Germany is forecast to fare worse. But next year is looking better when the IMF thinks the UK will grow by 1.5%, the third highest in the G7, ahead of France and Germany. Well, our economics editor Joel joins us now from Washington.
There is only one man able to create near hysteria among usually more reserved golf fans. Tiger Woods' win, as popular as it was astonishing.
The tap in for Tiger.
His remarkable victory, far more than just a great sporting comeback. Many put Woods' improvement down to his swing, so debilitated by back pain and the spinal surgery that aimed to alleviate it. To mitigate the effect it has had, he's changed his stance, now wider, with the ball further forward, making the most of the upswing on his drive. The result? His off-the-tee speed increasing from an average 114 miles per hour last year to 120 on this season's tour, and this weekend hitting a high of 129 miles an hour.
They are, for all of us across the country, the only thing keeping much of our private information private. But despite decades of practice, it seems many of us are still using the most obvious of passwords. Even at this digital marketing agency in Manchester, staff admitted a lack of creativity. According to research, password and password one are still among the most commonly used in the UK. The most popular are simple number sequences like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Favourite football teams like Liverpool are often used, with Arsenal also making the top 10 passwords, along with Chelsea. And we often choose the names of services we're logging into, like Netflix and Disney for streaming services. And that's despite, as Michael McIntyre observed, companies requiring us to make our passwords stronger.
We will not be accepting passwords anymore unless it contains at least one
capital letter. And we all momentarily considered our options before deciding to capitalise the first letter of our password.
So it seems there's no longer any excuse for leaving our most personal information exposed with passwords that might be easy to remember, but are just as easy to guess. Ben Chapman, News at 10.
5 years as England manager, 2 World Cups and a European Championship, never progressing beyond the quarter-finals. The Sven-Göran Eriksson era never quite reached the heights the nation expected. But news of his terminal illness will have all football fans wishing him well. He revealed all when he spoke to a Swedish radio station.
Alla gissar ju att det är cancer och det är det.
Everyone can see that I have a disease that's not good, and everyone supposes that it's cancer, and it is. But I have to fight it as long as possible. I know that in the best case, it's about a year. In the worst case, even less. Eriksson was recruited after he guided Lazio to the Italian league title. The Swedish coach was the first non-Englishman to get the FA's top job, and not everyone was welcoming, but he was always philosophical.
I can't do anything about it. I'm a Swede and that's it. I've been offered the job and here I am.
We sat through focus groups in that period, and it became clear that the English public would accept a non-English manager, providing he spoke English, which was crucial. He remains a fighter. I've spoken to him today, and he is in very good spirits.
There were always mitigating factors for England's ultimate failure, penalty shootouts, a red card, but he certainly had the players who were good enough to win trophies.
If you are the manager, you are always responsible. Good times, bad times.
What was so unexpected about Eriksson's time in charge was his colourful personal life. He was frequently on the front pages as well as the back, and was caught in a classic tabloid sting, secretly recorded talking about taking another job. It contributed to an early end to his England contract. He continued his managerial career at Manchester City and Leicester City, as well as several Chinese clubs, before returning to his native Sweden. Among many messages of support today, one from Wayne Rooney summed up football's response. He called him a brilliant coach and a special person, loved and respected by everyone. We're all with you, Sven. Keep fighting, he said. Ian Woods, ITV News.
And finally, the voice of Formula One, Murray Walker, died today at the age of 97. To millions of fans, both here and around the world, the much-loved TV commentator embodied the very spirit of motor racing. Such was his passion. He was once described as talking like a man whose trousers were on fire. Mark McQuillan looks back at his long and illustrious career.
Few voices are as distinctive or as synonymous with a specific sport. Murray Walker was the voice of Formula One to millions, and little wonder after a broadcasting career spanning more than 50 years. He commentated on many memorable races and effortlessly encapsulated the emotion of iconic moments.
And wins the Japanese Grand Prix. And I've got to stop because I've got a lump in my throat.
Like British driver Damon Hill's solitary World Championship triumph. Hill is among those to have paid tribute on social media, saying, "Thanks for so much. The legend will never die." While Jenson Button added, "Murray was the voice of F1 for so many years. He put his heart and soul into commentating." And Lewis Hamilton said, "You made the sport so much more exciting and captivating. You will never be forgotten." That excitement came from his knowledge, energy, and occasional mishaps.
3 lights, 4 lights, 5 laps. Pause. Go, go.
And further proof that Walker didn't take himself too seriously came when he teamed up with Hill for this advert.
Hill's going for it, and he's spun.
Having followed his father's passion for motorsport, he competed, then commentated, rising to the very top with the BBC and ITV before bowing out in 2001.
That's the last from me. All I can say is that it always has been a pleasure.
Murray Walker will be remembered for his talent, enthusiasm and charisma, and for being one of the great commentators of any era in any sport.